Good evening, everyone. If you'd please take your seats, we're going to get started.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Lancaster ISD Board of Trustees work session. Today's date is Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025. The time is 5:31 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Lancaster ISD Administration Board Auditorium at 422 South Center Avenue, Lancaster, Texas, 75146. This meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. I will now take roll. Ms. Cortez? Present. Ms. Nichols?
Present.
Ms. Morris?
Present.
Mr. Lewis? Present. Mr. Smith? He's virtually online with us. I don't see him at this moment. Myself present, absent currently is Mr. Jones and currently Mr. Smith. Okay, Mr. Smith, roll call.
Here.
Thank you. All righty, we do have a quorum and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, Dr. Pereira, do we have any citizens communications?
Not to my knowledge, President Hamilton.
Okay. We'll go ahead and start with finance. A, discussion of budget amendment for general operating funds. Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to call forward Ms. Dana Mosley to share that information with our board and our community. Ms. Mosley, the floor is yours whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, Board President, board members, and Dr. Pereira. This evening, I'm presenting proposed budget amendments for the general operating fund. This is a request to increase the bottom line budget for the following purchase orders. Purchase order 39471, which is for the athletic jump mats. Purchase order 38826, which is for the industrial size washers and dryers. Purchase order number 39548 for the press box elevator work. Press box 39549, the 2 ice makers. And purchase order 39532, which is for the infrastructure system. These items were scheduled to be delivered by August 31st, but due to manufacturing delays, they were not delivered until September, so I'm requesting to roll the PO in the budget. The next slide is a financial representation of how it looks. On August 30th, you approved the bottom line budget of $87,891,897. This increase of $355,867.25 will increase our bottom line budget to $88,247,764.25. Thank you. Any questions?
Hey, board, any questions, comments?
I have one question.
Mr. Lewis?
Ms. Mosley, this is coming from the 25-26 budget, right?
It's coming from the 24-25 budget. So, I'm rolling that budget into the 25-26
okay, that's the key
budget.
word.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll now move on to teaching and learning. A, discussion of Lancaster ISD submission of applications for the LASO 4 grants for approval at the next board meeting. Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to call forward Dr. Knight to share that information with our board and our community, and I believe we have some visitors as well who she will introduce. The floor is yours, Dr. Knight.
Good evening, Madam President, esteemed trustees, and Dr. Pereira. I'm here tonight to request your approval of our strategic plan to apply for the LASO Cycle 4 grant. This grant opportunity was developed as a single comprehensive application proposing 15 initiatives. Joining me today is Melinda Cardenas from our partner Sustain Ed Leaders, who will present details on the high leverage initiatives we have prioritized for inclusion into the application.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Dr. Knight, and good evening, esteemed board trustees and Madam President. LASO Cycle 4 is an opportunity for districts to receive extra funding and support for key initiatives such as curriculum and instruction, education and training, and inspiring new innovative school models. I'll be presenting some of the initiatives that Lancaster ISD is interested in applying for. Under curriculum and instruction grants, there are 3 new grants titled LIFT, LIFT School Improvement PLC, and School Improvement Curriculum and Instruction Support grants. Each of these grants have different requirements depending on the status of the campus, but overall they have the same goal, which is to provide funding for instructional support in reading and math from an approved provider, as well as funding for instructional support staff and supplemental academic materials. This initiative is aligned with many of the initiatives already underway in Lancaster ISD and will be a continuation of what is underway right now. Under educator prep allotments, this is a new initiative from the state that is actually guaranteed funding to grow and sustain the teacher pipeline. And so I will go over 3 allotments as well as a grant that Lancaster ISD has previously participated in. The first allotment is the residency program allotment, which provides districts $10,000 per teacher resident to subsidize the salary to create a pipeline of highly qualified teachers into the district. The second allotment is Grow Your Own. For any of our district employees who are currently on their way to earn a bachelor's degree and teacher certification, this allotment will provide, at minimum, $8,000 in tuition reimbursement for these individuals, and upon completion of all the requirements, which includes a bachelor's degree as well as teacher certification. The last allotment is the mentorship allotment. This allotment provides funding for mentor teachers to be paired with beginning first and second year teachers, and also covers the cost of a required state training. Mentor teachers in Lancaster ISD would receive a minimum stipend of $1,000 to provide ongoing mentorship, structured support throughout the school year. The final grant is the Texas Strategic Staffing for Residencies grant. This provides funding for a staff member, partial funding to full funding, to coordinate a partnership between the district and a local education prep program to oversee those teacher residents. And that funding would be $58,400. Lancaster ISD has been a previous participant and has been very successful. The final set of grants provide some unique opportunities around unique needs of districts. The first opportunity is the Additional Days School Year Planning and Execution Program, which is colloquially known as ADSE. This provides planning support for a high-quality summer learning program that we can launch at our highest need elementary schools. The funding can be used partially for teacher salaries as well as materials for those summer learning programs. School Action Fund is one of the grants that Lancaster ISD previously participated in for the 6th grade center, and this provides technical assistance and funding to help move campuses to become A and B rated within 2 years. The last program is a new program around Virtual Hybrid Program and Accelerator. This program helps provide district strategic planning support to consider the launch of a virtual or hybrid program. This provides strategic guidance as well as implementation support if the district were to implement such a program. Those are the summary of the grants as well as their focus areas, and I would be happy to take any questions at this time regarding any of those opportunities.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, thank you so much. Okay, you all, we're gonna make some adjustments on the agenda. We're gonna move from A to C. Attendance update, Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to call forward Dr. Jackson to present that information to our board and our community. Dr. Jackson, the floor is yours. And I know you take it with great pride, knowing the data you're about to present.
Yes, ma'am. Greetings, Madam Chair, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Dr. Pereira. I'm actually filled with the energy, excitement, and enthusiasm to present to you today our second 6 weeks attendance update. I'll give you a few seconds to peruse our results. As you can see, everything is green. I look at that as money. As you can see, we have a 1 to 3% increase across the board. This is our first time in the Pereira era since we've actually been here where our attendance has been this high during the second 6 weeks. You know, this is the time where it starts getting cold. The germs are passed around. However, we've been able to do some phenomenal things in this district to ensure that our students are getting to school. One may ask, how are we able to achieve such high pre-COVID status as it relates to our attendance? And I'll explain to you 4 big things. Number one, we have a very, very aggressive attendance monitoring system. At the secondary levels, we're known for students to miss class or to go to the restroom and not come back, where our hall monitors are now writing the names of every individual they come across in the hallways. And we're actually auditing on an hourly basis, so that's helping us out a lot. Additionally, we have a new dashboard within our district where every 24 hours it is updated, and myself, Dr. Courtney, and Dr. Barker, we can actually go in and push a button and actually see which students are missing 2 consecutive days. And if a student misses 2 consecutive days, we're calling that child, and we don't get an answer, we're going to their homes. We do an average of 43 home visits per week. Secondly, we have an early bird tutorial program. School starts in Lancaster at 6:30 instead of your traditional 7:30 at the secondary level or 7:15. This is for those parents who have the high school kids and elementary school kids in their homes, and the parent leaves at 6 and the kids fall back to sleep. So now the parents can drop the kids off at school. Thirdly, the continued improvement within our Tier 1 instruction led by Dr. Barker and her team. I was with a group of students the other day, and I heard one little girl saying, classroom is now an experience instead of just a lecture. And that's directly attributed to the things we're actually doing from an academic standpoint. And finally, the immunization clinic. It's actually housed at the middle school right now, where we're actually able to give our kids their immunizations on site. I can't wait till the clinic is actually ready for the spring. But we have some great things going on in the district. Dr. Pereira had a vision 4 years ago when she put me in this position, and she said, Dr. Jackson, I want our school district to be a one-stop shop. Everything a child needs, we actually have it here in this district, and now we're at that point where we actually have that, and that's why you're seeing these numbers getting so high and in the green, and you can expect to see the same thing academically as well. We continue to bring them to school. The academics just go to another level. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions, comments? Ms. Morris.
Thank you. Thank you all for all that you do for the future of our children and our district. This is awesome. This is a great, great achievement, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Nichols.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Jackson. I know last year when I came along, you were working on some things, so I'm glad that you have a dashboard that helps to hear that.
I remember you and I had spoken about that.
To hear that is very impressive, and I mean, I know you all had the 43 home visits, but hey, it is what it is, and thank you so much for creating a tool to help you manage and be able to increase the numbers. I do see with that, I'm sure it's going to even get better for you. So thank you for taking the feedback and listening. That really means a lot to me.
Thank you. I do remember you having that discussion, you and I having that discussion. But I'll be remiss if I actually took the credit for that. However, Ms. Patania Bell, who's our data guru, she's took that initiative. We talked about what you actually brought to me, and she's been working for that about a year and some change now. And all we have to do is boop, press a button, and myself, Dr. Barker, and Dr. Courtney, we're addicted to it. It updates every afternoon at about 6 o'clock, and we can just push a button, and it gives us an outline of the whole district. So we got some great things going on in the district.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next we'll move to D, Special Education Data Update. Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to call forward Ms. Cromer to bring that information to our board and our community. And of course, some of the things that Ms. Cromer will speak about in her presentation is also related to what Dr. Jackson was just sharing as well. You know, if we can't get the kids here, we can't teach them, right? And that means kids. And I think you all expect us to make sure all kids are here. And so Ms. Cromer is going to present some information to you as well. And one thing I wanted to highlight before she talks, it's about that 100% graduation rate. And she's going to touch on this in her presentation, because here's one thing that I think the general public does not realize is that our students who are exceptional needs, our special ed students, are able to stay with us until they're 21 years old. But note that once they hit 18 and they decide to stay, remember that, unfortunately, in Texas counts against us as far as our graduation rate. Although we have had 100% for the last 4 years, you may see something a little different in the state data, and that is because kids who remain with us, which we are more than happy to serve, it's a ding on our graduation rate, but we know that there's 100% of our students graduating. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarify that. Ms. Cromer is going to share some of that information in her data. So keep that in mind. And again, we're happy to continue to serve our students beyond the age of 18 until they're 21. But I don't think the general public is aware of how the state calculates that graduation rate. So, Ms. Cromer, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
I hope I didn't steal too much of your thunder.
No, thank you very much. Good evening, Board President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Pereira. I'm going to present to you the special education data update for the 2025-2026 school year. And so my first information I'm going to share is about our special education staff and service providers. We currently have about 6 administrative staff, including myself and office clerks and coordinators. In our instructional support staff, we have coordinators, instructional specialists, behavior specialists. We have 13 of those. We have 14 service providers, and that includes speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, vision and hearing teachers, and deaf ed teachers. We also have 16 special education evaluators. And so that includes our diagnosticians, our speech pathologists, and our school psychologists. And within those numbers, it's a total of 49, and out of that, 9 of them are contract staff. The other 40 are full-time staff. We also support our special education teachers on the campus. We have 50 special education teachers right now. We have 6 dyslexia teachers and about 60 special education paraprofessionals that work with our students. So we're supporting 894 students with disabilities right now. And so you'll see that total there, and you can see the differences in the disabilities. And you'll see that there's a large number of, our largest numbers in our students that have learning disabilities, students that have been serviced with autism spectrum disorder, and then our speech therapy students. Those are our largest numbers. And then of course we support all other state eligible students. We have different types of continuum of services. Our services include services in the general education environment, services in the special education setting classroom. We have dyslexia intervention, behavior adjustment program that can be services in the special ed classroom or the general education classroom. We also have a vocational program, occupational program, our total communications program, life skills, and our early childhood services. All of those classes are on most of our campuses. We serve students at home as well. We have homebound services for those students that cannot medically participate in the school. We also serve all of our campuses with speech services. And then you'll see the related services on the other side. These students receive an allure of services: assistive technology, deaf and hard of hearing, in-home training for parents, occupational therapy in school, physical therapy, psychological services, that's including counseling services, transportation services, and visual services. We're excited to talk about our transition services, and that's kind of what Dr. Pereira was speaking to. For our 18+ students, they get community access, and so we have them going to different places such as post office, grocery store, so they can learn those independent skills and be independent adults. And then we of course have pre-employment services for those students. So we have the Texas Workforce Commission come in, and we work with a company called LASO Services, and they come in and teach our students how to get jobs, how to dress for jobs, interview, and applications. And then, of course, we're getting ready for our Tiger Coffee Shop Cart that is going to open, grand opening in January, so we'll put that on your calendar for our students at the high school level who will be selling coffee and snacks and treats for adults. Okay. I have great news to share with our special education STAR assessment achievement. So you'll see here in the yellow are the 2025 scores for students with disabilities. In the orange are the last 2024 scores for students with disabilities. So you'll see that there was an increase in the majority of the grade levels across third through EOC high school reading and math scores. And so special education, professional learning, we make sure that we have a professional learning plan each year. So we focus on IEP implementation training for the general education staff as well as special education staff. We also provide training to our campuses on Child Find as well as the community with Child Find, and identification training with our evaluation staff. We also provide behavioral training to all staff, including crisis prevention intervention training and de-escalation training. And of course, we're continuing on with our special education stakeholder engagement events. This year, we're continuing with Strengthening Families. At most campuses, we have one just about every month. This month, our campus is Rolling Hills Elementary. If you can make it, we'll put it on your calendar for November 18th. And we'll focus on 504 services and early childhood special education at that parent engagement event. So here I'm sharing the RDA data, and so this is the state rating for the special education department for Lancaster ISD. This data has not been finalized, and it won't be published until the end of the week. This is our unmasked data, so I'm just sharing with you prior to the public viewing it. So you'll see our STAR rating is 3 for math and science and social studies, and we have a 2 in reading, which in all levels, you'll see that the passing rate improved in all levels. We still have a performance level of 3, but you can notice where it says passed. From 2024, there's an increase of students passing in 2025. In EOC, we did drop in English 1 and 2, but in the other areas, we did maintain or increase in those percentages. And here's the SPED graduation rate that Dr. Pereira was speaking to, where we still have a performance level of 0, which is where we want to be. That's the best level, is 0. 89% of the special education students in 2025 graduated with a high school diploma. The other 10% are our students in the 18+ program. And then, of course, we have no students that dropped out for special education, so that's a 0 there. Here is our representation data. So this is an area that we'll work to improve as well. And it just shows that our students with special education early childhood program rate needs improvement from, we're at a 19% of those students being in the general education classroom, aged 3, 4, and 5. And so we're hoping to improve that to get at least 30% of those students in the general education classroom. And then we see special education regular classroom, we have a 0 there. So that means that the majority of our students are in the general education classroom receiving their services. And then the special education regular classroom setting, making them self-contained in a specialized setting for the most of the day. That is an area that we want to improve as well. We don't want to get to 19% where we are. We want to bring that down to at least 10%, only 10% of our students in the special education classroom. That rating also comes when we get those transfer students that come in from other districts and are self-contained, and we have to abide by whatever their IEP says. And so that's another reason why we have so many students in special education. We get a lot of transfers from other districts And so you notice our numbers went from, last year we had 750 around this time. This year we're at 894. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions? Ms. Morris?
Thank you so very much for those numbers. I really do appreciate that. It is always a bright day when we can see all students achieve and closing that gap. And I can say from a community member on the outside and an advocate, I don't get those kind of complaints from Lancaster, but I get them from our neighbors. So thank you so much for all you do under the leadership of Dr. Pereira.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Ms.
you.
Nichols?
Real quick, the question in reference to, I think you stated we had 894 items. I mean, students here. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mine. And we had 750, so we went up a huge percentage of students. That's a lot. So
Yes,
did
ma'am.
we increase our staff for that?
We did. We have increased our staff. Yes, I think last year when I presented this, and that was in April, we had about 39, and right now we have 49 in doing special education services for those students.
And the percentage of those were all transfer students, or was it some of the students that was identified with?
Right, we definitely identified a lot of students as well. We
So,
identified, I believe,
okay.
the data that I shared at the end of the year, and I'll share again in spring,
Yeah.
of the students identified by our district. But last year we did identify over 100 students.
Yeah. And so out of that 894, the increase that you saw, what is the percentage of the transfer students in?
Well, I can get that.
I don't need it right
but
now.
I don't have
I
it
was
yet.
gonna send an email anyhow. And then you had another slide on here. So you listed all of the different type of, special ed items that we have. Do you have combos? Or some of them may have.
Yes. You mean the disabilities, students serving
yes, ma'am.
with different disabilities? Yes, definitely. We have students that have multiple disabilities, and this is only the screen that shows you their primary disability.
Yeah, okay.
Because like speech, we have 123 shown here, but we serve over 300 students with speech
Yeah.
therapy.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I thought I had to point out. So good job. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Mr. Smith has a question.
Not so much a question. I just wanted to make mention of an item that was dropped on me recently. I thought you guys would want to hear about it. I don't know the student's name, but the student is a male. He has a dedicated aide, and apparently the aide is a young lady that you guys recently hired. And I want to say the name was Rachel, or maybe Miss Rachel. Anyway, kudos to your department. Apparently the mom is exceedingly pleased with the way the aide has broken through to her son, has made breakthroughs that she's not seen before, and she stopped me to tell me that, and I thought I would share it with you guys. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Okay, we'll go back to B, discussion of scoreboards proposals for approval at the next board meeting. Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I know the agenda speaks to Coach Kendrick Brown presenting, but in his absence, Ms. Dana Mosley is going to present that information to our board and our community. As you all recall, we've had a little bit of a challenge with our scoreboard installations and ensuring that those things are taken care of. And I know that you all were advised by our legal team as to what steps to take. And so Ms. Mosley is here to present some information on those steps as we were advised to take, and some information for your consideration. Ms. Mosley, the floor is yours when you're ready.
Good afternoon, board president, board members, and Dr. Pereira. This evening I'm presenting the proposed purchase of the baseball, softball scoreboards, as well as some basketball auxiliary scoreboards. The current legacy boards we have at the softball and baseball field, this is the current setup. We have lights that are out on the scoreboard. The mixer boards are outdated and the speakers are not working properly. This is the proposed solution that we have with the Lady Tiger Field softball board and then the Tiger Field baseball board. And this is from the vendor Watchfire. Also, the auxiliary gyms in the high school, this is the scoreboard that we currently have, and all of them look like this. He just took one picture of it. And so we need to get those scoreboards, new scoreboards, so they can utilize those gyms to take the, I guess, the wear and tear off the main Coliseum, so they can utilize those for like freshmen and JV, the sub-varsity players, so they can play there. And so I was just showing you that picture, and then he's proposing to get boards. He didn't get to take a picture of the board, but it is all coming from Watchfire. And this is the total cost breakdown from Watchfire, as you can see. Now, we did not pay, we released the PO from VCR now for the baseball and softball, so we have that from the capital projects account. And then we have identified funding for the basketball scoreboards, and this is a need for our students. And the total cost is $157,265. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Jones arrived 5:59 p.m. virtually. Okay, we'll now move on to maintenance and operations. A, child nutrition update, Dr. Pereira.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to call for Dr. Kimbrough to share that information with our board and our community. Dr. Kimbrough, whenever you're ready, sir, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Board President, distinguished Board of Trustees, and Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Pereira. I'm here tonight to go over the Child Nutrition November updates. The first thing I want to show with you is the first data is from our participation numbers coming from lunch, and this is speaking to the quality of food that is being served in our cafeteria. Lunch is one of the ones that we track the most because breakfast, a lot of kids eat at home. They get to school at different time, but for lunch, we know that they're on campus, and we're providing that meal. And this is more of a testament to SFE. You can see at many of our campuses, we are seeing increases in participation. So you can kind of look over this list. That's good. That means the kids are eating, meaning they can perform better in the classroom. You can't perform on an empty stomach, or if you don't have faith in your cafeteria. I do want to come back to this. I know in the spring we proposed to order, and we did get approved to order vehicles for child nutrition. I do want to update the board that we have received both of the vans that we were approved for and one of the SUVs, and I will come back to show you. The two vans that we did have, we moved those to operations, and I will bring that back for you to show you what we did with those vans. But we are getting those vehicles in, so we have a Explorer, and then we have two vans. So we're gonna, we did add to our fleet because we didn't have any for child nutrition. I know it was brought up at the last work session about what are we doing. I do understand the history with child nutrition and the findings and the suspending of funding. I know the question was asked, what are we doing to make sure that we're on the right path and stand on the right path? And I do want to say, keeping Lancaster ISD, U.S. Department of Agriculture and Texas Department of Agriculture compliant, because that is where those findings come from. One thing I do want to point out that Dr. Pereira did allow us to do to address the issue, we did expand the number of employees working in child nutrition. It used to be 1 to 2, and we did expand it to 5, and you need 5. And then define roles and responsibilities. One thing is the director that I looked at, I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly, because child nutrition is a big department and what all you have to cover. Not many people, but they have to know what they're doing. You have the director, which is myself, which is program oversight, keeping up with the FSMC contract compliance, making sure that whoever we contract with, that vendor is giving us everything that is in that contract. Budgeting, how are we looking at revenue and expenditures, working with the finance department to make sure we're keeping up with that. Right now we have a fund balance, so we need to be spending way more than we're taking in, and right now every month we're on path for that. We're spending, but we have less coming in because we're paying the vendor more money, and that is getting us better food. And procurement and compliance, that's what any purchase we have. And Ms. Mosley made sure we have 3 quotes, or it's a no-go. So that is part of dealing with federal funds, because you do get audited for your purchases. The coordinator verifies invoices and counting and claiming. Purchasing and requisition, she worked closely with the finance department. All our TDA reports that we have to submit, those have deadlines, and there's a finding if you do not get those in on time. Also, commodities from USDA, we get a budget, most likely $350,000 of free food, and our job is to make sure the vendor is putting that free food into the lunches. Apples and stuff that is on that list, we order that stuff, and it has to be on the menu. And you have to reconcile that because the vendor has to give you a credit. And also meal patterns, making sure it's a compliable meal, acceptable, that all the components are on there, or that is a finding if the auditor comes and they see they are not meeting that. Also, we have a specialist that we added, and that's kitchen compliance, making sure the kitchens are clean and that our vendor is keeping our kitchens up to par. Also, quality food, menu compliance, meal patterns, and she also handles the catering for us. And we have a technology person to help us with the POS system, and any technology needs that to come up in our department. And we also have a maintenance test for minor kitchen repairs. One example I want to just give you, because I do want to say counting and claiming. I started with counting and claiming because this is where your audit starts. If you do not pass counting and claiming, you fail the audit. And they do this before they even step on your campus, step into your district. We have to submit these documents. They pull the documents, and you have to show them that you're doing an accurate count. In the past, I know we had findings for this, and I could tell you when I did research and look at it, I saw what the error was, and we put a system in place to correct that. The numbers that we were using were the numbers the vendor was giving us, not our numbers. So when the auditor came and you submitted this claim with numbers on there, they want your backup. You know, Dr. Kimbrough, why did you submit this claim? You said you fed 90,000 students. Give me your documentation to justify it. And if those numbers don't match, you just failed audit. If they off by one, they already know. So just looking at that, and that did cause problems, but we had an audit last year and we got through without any findings in counting and claiming. Because counting and claiming, if you're off, you fail the audit. They don't look at anything else. They stop at counting and claiming. One thing that we did, the system we put in place, we had the managers, train the managers, because they catch 90% of it during their end of the day report. It's called an edit review. They go back and they look through their lines, and they make sure all kids are accounted for. And it can happen. You got, especially at the high school or middle school, you got multiple lines. You got hundreds of kids coming through. Sometimes they can double tap on that POS system, and they can ring that child up twice. So you have to have that manager go in there, and they can see it, and they can delete that kid out. And so it cleans up 90% of it. And also, every Thursday, counting and claiming is due from all the campuses, and that's when my team looks at it, and we clean it up on Thursdays. So they have to submit the week before, and we start cleaning it up, just fine-tuning. And then we have the end of the month. We had that today, yesterday with SFE. That's when me and the director of SFE, we sit down and we have a one-on-one, or Ms. Lynch will take care of it, and we go through all counts: breakfast, lunch, the snack program, the dinner program, the commodity credits, and catering, and we have to account for everything. And I have what we have from Mosaic, and we don't file a claim, and we don't pay SFE till all those numbers match, or any vendor. So if I have a number and the vendor number doesn't match my number, it's very clear, you don't get paid. So go back, redo your numbers, make them match my numbers, and we'll submit the claim, and then we will take your invoice and pay it much match. It seems simple, but if you don't have a system in place, when the auditor comes in, and what we do and what wasn't going on, we were waiting till the end of the month to print out from our POS system, and those numbers change. So we do print them out at the end of the month, but we make sure everything matches. The invoice, you have to put that together, print it, because when the auditor comes, they're gonna want that document. They have the claim, they're gonna want your documentation, and they also are gonna want the invoice to justify. And what that looks like is, September, we fed 90,711 students. In Mosaic, 90,711 students was rung up. On the invoice from SFE, we paid them for lunch for feeding 90,711 students. And that's what when the auditor starts, they're gonna look at those numbers for each program. If they see anything off, they're gonna dig, and they're gonna find the mistake, they're gonna see, and then they're gonna say your accounting and claiming is insufficient, and you're gonna fail the audit, because it's federal money. So, I know but you have to have a system, and you have to be 100% accurate. You cannot be off, or you're done before you get started, kind of deal. So we do have that system in place to make sure we're accurate, and it does take a while, but I have a great team, and we really work on this, and we print it out, we save it, and when the auditor comes, we can give it to them and show we do have a system in place. And that's just one thing, but it is one of the most major findings is counting and claiming, because it's directly tied to the funding you're getting back. Also, attending professional development opportunities. My background is not child nutrition, but we do use every opportunity to learn what we can. TDA had a training on October 23rd. You can see the picture to the right, that was a training. They do expect you to attend those trainings. If you're having problems with child nutrition, they keep roll. So they know the districts who do not show up, who have an FSMC. So when you start having problems. Also, we have FSMC Fridays, that's once a month. That's led by TDA. That is a call meeting, and TDA directors on there, and they're talking about managing your FSMCs, and they're very helpful. You can ask questions, and they go over some of the trouble things they see with districts with FSMC, and they basically coach us on how to manage. Also, we have a TDA offers a monthly child nutrition directors meeting. I have to attend those monthly. So there's more than enough resources out there that TDA offers to show you how to manage your child nutrition program. You must. And they're not mandatory you attend, but they expect you to attend these meetings. And also Region 10, last week we went over our 21-day menu, and Region 10 came out and it's a lot of documents, making sure that at every campus we serve what was on that contract on the 21-day menu. If we miss anything, then that is a rebid. We have to go back out, and it's also a financial penalty for the district. So putting things in place and also partnering with Region 10 and TDA to make sure we keep our child nutrition program on track. And that is all I have.
Great. Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board? Mr. Cluis?
Dr. Kimbrough, looking at the lunch participation per campus, the high school has a 46.9 and 45.33.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain why that is?
Because the high school kids have other options. A lot of them eat off campus. I go through, they have just some of them, a lot of them bring their own lunches, and they don't eat. The early college kids, they go to early college, they have the option to come back. A lot of them choose not to come back and eat. They eat elsewhere. Okay. So they have other options where the other kids are on campus, and they don't have the option to leave, or they don't bring any lunches like high school. High school is always a trouble point because the kids are older now, and they like what they like now. So they don't want to eat it. We try to change the menu. The ones who eat, they eat, and the ones who have other options, they choose another option.
So there's no food that goes to waste. So in other words, you predict how much.
That is a finding. That is with your manager, because it's federal, you can't waste. So when you're predicting the cafeteria manager job, she sees 40% of the high school kids eat. I can tell you that number between 800 and 900 kids a day. So when she prepares the feed. Even though the high school enrollment is a lot higher, she doesn't prepare for 1,800 high school kids because she's looking at her number. She only prepares the feed. What's the average is running is 800 to 900 kids. So when they're ordering, they're looking at, and it's the director's job on both sides. Really, we have an FSMC. They're not going to waste money because that's come out of their budget. So they're forecasting. So they're not going to plan to feed 800 kids when on average only 900 eat a day.
Okay.
Because that's a waste of money. And then it's also a finding when the auditor sees like your production reports. Why are you producing so many meals and half the kids are not eating? That's waste. And you cannot do that with federal funds.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Morris?
Dr. Kimbrough, I want to thank you for providing this report. This is one report we have not had the opportunity to get it, and to get it as detailed as it is to understand actually how those invoices are being paid, because that's something that in the back of our minds we would need to know if you came in, we had to change vendors. This definitely could affect and hurt our district pretty bad with those federal dollars. Yes. So thank you so very much for your extra mile
It all with an auditor. Once you deal with the auditor, you know, you will be wondering why is it going on. But the auditors are very direct, and they can see it on. Like I said, that's just the macro level where they start out front, and then they micro down to each school and they track each kid that's coming through the line. But if they see a problem up front with the invoice, the monthly claim, and you done gave them that document, and you don't have your documentation, because the things they're gonna, Dr. Kimbrough, how did you put a claim in for 90,000 kids? Where's your documentation to say you fed 90,000 kids, 90,711 kids? Here's the documentation. Okay, show us the invoice. What did you pay SFE for? It has to be the same. If you paid SFE for 10,000 kids, you gave them more. Okay, all right, that's it.
All right.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep, okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is recess or closed session as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code 551.071, legal advice with school attorney, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, 551.074, personnel matters, and 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices or security audits. A is discussion of personnel updates and employment of administrative and instructional personnel. B, VCR now update. C, consult with the district attorneys on any subjects or matters authorized by law, including any matters listed on this meeting notice/agenda pending or contemplated litigation and proposed settlements. D, consider the report from counsel for all pending legal matters. Time is 6:16. The board will go into closed session.
Recording in progress.
Okay, okay. Board is gonna come back into open session. Time is 6:40 PM. Last thing on our agenda is adjournment. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, look, we have some board matters left on here. We'll go back. Okay, so for board matters, A is review the Long Star Governance Board Time Use Tracker for October 30th, 2025. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the Lancaster ISD Board of Trustees, Madam President, I know you're going to be very excited in regards to the quarterly review. I'm sorry, not quarterly review, the time use tracker associated with Thursday, October 30th, 2025. In regards to your student outcome and the adult behavior minutes, you have 64%. You'll also be very pleased to know that on behalf of the student outcomes minutes, it is 58%. I know that, Madam President, your goal is 100% meeting attendance associated with the Lancaster ISD Board of Trustees. So you're at 85, basically 85.71%. In regards to your goals, as the goals that were discussed, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, 100% is on target. You'll also be pleased to know that in regards to the GPM that were discussed, the 3.2 that's associated with the board decorum, which is on track. You'll also be pleased to know that in regards to, as a matter of fact, on behalf of Dr. Francois, the 3.2 board decorum is on track. 4 GPM associated with child nutrition and special education is complete. So you are 100% on target. Also, I also want to make mention on behalf of Dr. Francois, she did make mention that the implementation phase is where the district is currently, and the conservator, which is Dr. Francois, emphasized that she wants to see it at the highest level. So overall, Madam President, I believe you, on behalf of on behalf of the Lancaster ISD Board of Trustees, you should be very pleased in regards to your report.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Allen, and that is some improvement. So we're happy to always see advancements being made. Okay, we'll move on to B under board matters. Discussion of the voting process for tax units, Lancaster Independent School District Board to cast votes for nominating candidates for appointment to 2 positions on the Appraisal District Board of Directors in accordance with the Texas Property Tax Code. This information was included in Diligent, and we have until December 15th to submit. So I'm thinking if you all will review that and be prepared to vote at our regular board meeting, that will be appreciated. Any questions on that? Okay, hearing none. We have a few reminders. Joint City Council ISD Board of Trustees meeting, Lancaster Recreation Center, Lancaster, Texas, Monday, December 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. NABSE's 53rd Annual Convention, Chicago, Illinois, December 10th through the 14th, 2025. TASB 41st Annual Conference, Irving, Texas, February 18th through 22nd, 2026. TASB Governance Camp, Galveston, Texas, March 4th through the 7th, 2026. TCBSBM 2026 Education Summit, April 15th through the 18th, 2026. And we have now come to adjournment. All in favor of adjournment? Aye. Okay, the time is 6:44. We are adjourned. Thank you all and have a good night.